investors don't really care about this. And that hat's not going to be worth much.
We do have some swag. We do have some Dow 40K swag.
The depreciation of that hat will be pretty rapid.
We'll see. I've seen some comments just recently. The PayPal guy said everything is eventually going to be on Lightning or something. I mean,
Lightning Network. Well, I mean, listen, we'll talk about Lightning Network if you want, but I think the institutional adoption is happening now. The state of Wisconsin announced we expect other pension funds to announce, and of course, Bitcoin now has the regulatory approval, and I think that was the rate limiting step for a lot of these large scale institutions. And just remember, if you're not long Bitcoin, you're possibly short Bitcoin in the sense that if you believe, and I think BlackRock has more or less said this, that this will be part of a long-term tactical asset allocation strategy for institutional investors, then at some point you've got to get long Bitcoin. Is it 1% of Bitcoin, 1.5% Bitcoin? I don't know. So a lot of smart institutions are saying, let me get long this thing before it becomes part of a total tactical asset allocation index. And I think that's starting to happen now, and that's very good for Bitcoin.
Is it because it's a hedge against 34 trillion in money printing or whatever it is?
Well,
or is it going to be used to seamlessly transact around the world, or both?
So, I'm in the digital gold category.
At this point.
Yeah, Michael Saylor. I'll probably call my cell phone after this and say, no, this is in the universal currency category, meaning it'll eventually be the standardized currency for the world over the things like the Lightning Network. But I think what's important for people to do is to do the homework on Bitcoin, because when you do the homework on Bitcoin, you go towards Bitcoin. I know very few people that have done the homework, several hundred hours of understanding Bitcoin, not just reading the right white paper, but really understanding the history of money and all the different boxes that Bitcoin checks off.
That was kind of a revelation.
But I've been in trouble on this because Skybridge announced our Bitcoin position in November of 2020. And a lot of institutions, wirehouses, they didn't like it. They didn't like the position. It's 4 years later. Now these very same wirehouses are adopting the position and are getting long the ETF, or at least allowing their financial advisors to recommend the ETF. And so, sometimes when you're early, you get a lot of bumps and scrapes. But I think it pays to be early in Bitcoin, and I think we're still early in Bitcoin.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And we have the Dow hitting 40,000. And of course, you already had the hat ready. You're watching a movie. Sit back, get your popcorn, and let it play out. And then we have Scaramucci on institutional investors coming into this digital asset space. But guys, remember, they've been here from the beginning. Big banks and big corporations have been funding it all. When I first started my YouTube channel, I went over that, constantly showing you where all the money was coming from, because guess what? You have to follow the money. And BlackRock comes into space, and when they're BlackRock Vanguard, they own everything. And we're going into a digital economy where everything is going to be seamless. And Scaramucci says Bitcoin is the new gold, but Bitcoin will be the checking account for the machines. Remember, the machines now have money. And with this Bitcoin blockchain system, you'll never be able to cheat them. Even if you try, they'll just take the money right out your wallet. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. Now we have Rick Reader on buybacks. And remember, guys, because of all these buybacks, I just want you to make sure you're using your mind here. With all these buybacks, it's no longer publicly traded companies. You have private companies on the stock market. That's all it is. They bought so much of their own stock, they own their own company and paying themselves dividends. Guys, you can't make this stuff up. Remember, buybacks were illegal, but they got the actor Reagan to come in and change it up. Remember, he thought he was supposed to make a change, but we heard the what? The kapow, and we know how that goes. And we have Jamie Dimon constantly. Every time Jamie is having an interview, he sends out a warning. And we know with all the geopolitical events, they're biblical, guys. is definitely going down. But remember, the central banks fund both sides. And it's all for the fourth industrial revolution. China versus U.S. China wins. We go to a level playing field, but there's going to be a lot of pain. Americans are going to be brought to their knees. We see them hurting right now. So, of course, they're going to be begging the government, and we know the government is broke. So what are they going to do? Hey, we can send you out universal basic income while the machines take over. But little do the people know that money is programmable, telling you what, when, and how to buy, and you have 3 to 6 months to spend it or poof, it's gone. And Americans are not going to be happy with that, but guess what? They have the immigrants. Immigrants are going to be happy whatever. They're going to do whatever jobs that are left, and they'll take any money that's given because they're coming from nothing. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Okay, well, let's just do the math together for a second. Let's say gold is $16 trillion.
Right.
And let's say Tom Lee is wrong by half, which I don't think he is. And I appreciate him coming to my book party last night. But I think Tom Lee's going to be right. But just if Bitcoin got to $8 trillion.
So your thoughts on stocks at record highs?
Yeah. So can I go to something Joe said?
Yeah.
People don't realize 110 billion of an authorized stock buyback. The average S&P 500 market cap, strip out the Mag 7, is 65 billion. They're buying 2 S&P 500 average-sized companies per annum. That number is staggering. By the way, I was looking at the whole market cap in the New Zealand stock market is like 90 billion. What they're doing, it's pretty incredible. By the way, you take the other Mag 7, I looked at 4 of them. They're buying back 320 billion a stock. The IPO calendar is 13 billion.
I'm a little more worried about it. I mean, we've had very big fiscal deficits, and I think the underlying inflation may not go away the way people expect it to. And I look at the future, like a lot of things we look at are kind of inflationary. The green economy, the remilitarization of the world, the infrastructure requirements, the restructuring of trade, fiscal deficits. So I think there are a lot of inflationary forces in front of us that may keep it a little bit higher than people expect. So the surprise would be rates are higher, inflation a little bit higher, and maybe that'll slow growth. And obviously geopolitics is a whole different issue. That could be determinative in what our economy does next year. And we're just not going to know.
But so does that mean you think it's 50-50 whether the Fed cuts or hikes at next time around, the next move?
I really don't pay that much attention to that. The Fed will have to follow the data, and I don't know what the data is going to say, but I think they are doing the right thing to be patient right now. See what's going to happen. They may not know for a couple of months.
But no big correction. I mean, if you don't pay that much attention to it, it means you're not worried about anything.
No, I'm worried. I just said stocks are very high. And I think the chance of inflation staying high or rates going up are higher than other people think. So I think the chance, my view is whatever the world is pricing it for a soft landing, I think it's probably half that. I think the chance of something going wrong is higher than people think.
In the U.S. or globally?
Well, I'd say in the U.S., but also that could affect globally, yeah.
And so what does that mean for markets?
They'd be down. And credit spreads would gap out.
So why is the market not pricing that in?
A lot of happy talk.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. I hate when countries go off the dollar. I would not allow countries to go off the dollar, because when we lose that standard, that will be like losing a revolutionary war. That will be a hit to our country, just like losing a war. And we can't let that happen. And too many countries now are fighting to get off the dollar.
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, The fourth industrial revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.